radio and back here. The cops ain't likely to catch up with us, not tonight. So we can all be quiet and peaceable and listen to the music.
Hey, good afternoon. This is Dave Villa.
Hey, it's Dave Cribbs.
And you're listening to Auto Dealer Live. We are here. It's 3:30 Eastern Standard Time in sunny Tampa, Florida. What's up, Dave?
Hey, Dave Villa. It is sunny Tampa. It's starting to finally get sunny instead of raining every single day. It's only raining every other day now.
Yeah, and it's fall, man. It's the official fall season. So it's instead of being 95 here, it's 92.
89.
Yeah, somewhere like that. Hey, how are you guys doing out in dealer land, man? In automotive world, we want to thank you for listening to us, and we appreciate your support. And if it weren't for you, then we'd be talking to ourselves. We may be.
Yeah.
You know, we might be.
might be.
I don't know.
I have been lately, so.
You know, I honestly, man, to be honest with you, I'd still talk to myself. You know, if no one listened, I'd still talk to myself. I'd sit here and talk to myself. How about you? I talk to you, man.
Yeah, I'd talk back. Even though my mama told me not to.
That's awesome. Oh, man. Hey, we are so pumped up about today's show. It's What's Next, Part 2. Although we were accused, not necessarily us, but the show and the title of the last show was accused of being not really talking about what's next. You know, the last show it kind of trainers kind of took it over, and as trainers tend to do.
Yeah, we got accused of it getting off topic a little bit instead of staying focused on what is next, what's around the corner for the car business, what do we see, happening, what's the trend going to be, what's going to stick, what's going to not stick, and where we think we're going with this.
Absolutely. So today we are excited. We have an all-star panel, and that's not uncommon. We have some great guests on every week, and I'll tell you what, man. What makes this show is the content. In my opinion, I mean, you and I are a couple of nice guys, and that goes a little bit of the way, man. But I tell you what, we've got some outstanding guests, Dave, that come on the show on a weekly basis and drop content and knowledge like no one's business, and that's really what makes this show. So, man, I'm just very excited, and I'm interested to hear. We have Jeff Collins and we have Kevin Fry on, and JD Rucker.
Yep, Bobby Heron, Don O'Neill. I mean, every week.
How's it getting any better than that?
I know. Every week the guests are incredible, and I think that's why so many people are tuning into Auto Dealer Live. Honestly, like you hit it on the head a moment ago. I mean, yeah, we love being here. We love doing this, but the people who show up to participate on Auto Dealer Live are second to none. Yeah,
second to none. And today we're going to be discussing what's next. We got some pretty interesting questions. We want to bring up some things that have been sent over by you, the listeners, some topics that, Dave, that is pretty hot on Facebook, different types of Facebook discussions that you're involved in, different blogs that we subscribe to, emails that we receive from listeners, just conversations that we go through with dealers. We work with several hundred dealers, so we're constantly talking to dealers. Our reps obviously have their clients listen to our show, and we've heard your questions. So we're going to discuss things that are really out there. We're going to discuss things like buying online. Is it really all that it's cracked up to be? Are we, and some of our guests say yes. I want to hear what the rest of them say. I know one particular, Jeff Collins, is a big fan of this. I want to talk about the fact that, hey, are we that close? To really, really seeing an online wave? Or Is it a pipe dream, so to speak? And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, TrueCar, not TrueCar in a bad way. We're not going to bash them. We have no beef with them, and they're a great company. But we want to talk about, hey, it's been brought up, Dave. Are they just another lead provider incognito?
Yes.
Or are they really the consumer advocate? And hey, are we going to? What's going to happen? What's going to be the byproduct of talking about these things? I don't know. I think that we're all going to be a little smarter. We're all going to feel a little better. Yeah. Going to tick some people off. We're going to make some people happy. We're just going to have a good time, man. We're going to talk automotive. That's what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we get to hear from, professionals, the people that are at the top of their game and what their take is on it. And, it gets us all thinking about what's next, because let's face it, we all want to be ahead of the curve. I mean, we're car dealers, right? We want to get the jump on the competition. We want to know what's happening. Hey, we want every single advantage. And sometimes having these conversations can pull some of that out.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so, hey, a couple of things too. First of all, if you have a question, you try to get you on air today. Listen, we want to apologize. Our phone rings constantly throughout the show, the producers, and we, if we're in the middle of something that we can't get you on, then we don't answer it. But we can't get you on. We apologize. But if you call and we can get you on, we'll try to. We love taking live calls, 813-574-1820. We don't give the number out enough. It rings right into our producer. And just give him your question. And if it's airworthy, we'll get you on, 813-574-1820. Make sure you use the hashtag at Auto Dealer Live. Tweet your questions. That's a great way to get them on as well. And we want to hear what you have to say today. I think there's going to be a lot of great subject matter for you to weigh in on. I think there's going to be a lot of opinions, and probably on all sides of the coin. What do you say, Dave?
I say most definitely. I say I can't wait to get the party started. Hey, I got to say something about these bobblehead things. This is the crew there. Look at Mikey. There's Mikey. There's Mike. There's Cribs. There's myself. We had to get these in time for some things that we're doing, but they just came in and they put them up there, and I'm embarrassed, man. I'll be honest with you. That's just not my cup of tea. But hey, listen, are you ready for the panel? Because I'm ready. The next up is coming up. The next up is around the corner, Dave. Yeah, the next up is what's next.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, we've unveiled a couple of new sponsors as well. One will be airing their commercial for the first time today. No Pressure Selling, and want to thank them. And check this out. We'll be right back with the next.
The next up.
With the next up, we'll be right back with the. What's crazy? It's called the What's Next. We'll be the next up. We'll be right back with the next up, which is the What's Next panel next.
Right.
Boom. How about that?
Next.
He's trying to save the advertising world. He did it. He did it for your business. He is Pineapple Advertising.
Set fire to your hair, poke a stick at a grizzly bear, eat medicine that's out of date, use your private parts as piranha bait. Dumb ways to die, so many dumb ways to die. Dumb ways to die, so many dumb ways to die.
Digital Dealer Conference coming up in October. We're going to look at, are you wasting time on millennials? J.D. Power, AARP, just came out with a new study that found that 62% of new cars are actually purchased by boomers, ages 50 to 68. This makes sense. Boomers have 70% of U.S. wealth, 50% of U.S. disposable income, average discretionary income of $24,000 per year. So we're going to look at three things, three objectives and takeaways. Number one, generational selling. How do we approach millennials? How do we approach boomers, for instance? Number two, we're going to look at how each group wants to buy. For instance, boomers want to build trust. They want to minimize negotiation. And we'll look at a host of other things as well. And then number three, we're going to study ways to engage your customers so that they purchase a new car every 3 years. We'll see you in October.
Moving on here, Dave, I wanted to read a question that came into the show. This comes from a dealer viewer that states they're at 1.67 hours per repair order in the customer paid labor in their service department, are in the bottom 50% in the nation with their survey scores, and continually struggle to get their customer retention above 40%. They want to know if we know of anyone they can contact to help them with this.
Yeah, that's a great question. And the viewer shouldn't feel bad because, Dave, half of the dealers are at those kind of numbers or lower. And the great news is there is a solution. It's Jeff Cowan at Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk. Jeff is considered the creator of the modern day walk around and selling process in the service drive.
You're right. Jeff is the best. The average Pro Talk customer is usually in the top 7% in the nation with survey scores, in the 80% range in customer retention, and in the 2.5 range in customer paid hours per repair order, including oil changes. That's why most consider Jeff the nation's authority when it comes to training service staffs everywhere.
Yeah, and Jeff's real easy to reach too. I mean, you can call Jeff today at 1-800-248-2931, or you can reach him through email at info@jcowensprotalk.com.
He's easy to reach and offers in-store, on-the-drive training, workshops, and virtual training as well. Call Jeff today.
Jason Rice from Lot Pop, and let me tell you what we do to help dealerships increase used car sales 20 to 30% in gross in volume. 3 areas we focus on: trend reports. We look at weekly trends that no one else is trending to make adjustments on our inventory. 2 is we do weekly review calls to review those trends, but also we dig through every car that needs to be price adjusted to increase the searches. And 3, we do a virtual lot walk, make sure every car is standing tall in line, and make sure we don't have bad photos like these. Check out our website, lotpop.com. our blog at automotiverevolution.com, and our weekly video tips at increaseturn.com. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Alan Ram, president and founder of Alan Ram's Proactive Training Solutions. Let's face it, good managers are defined not by what they do when they have a showroom full of customers, but more by what they do when there are no customers in the showroom. In 2015, whether you like it or not, the car business is all about conversion of opportunities and driving traffic. All those great closers and desk people are not doing you a whole lot of good if your dealership is not converting effectively on the telephone and internet. As an owner or dealer, when you see 5 salespeople standing by the front door doing nothing, don't kid yourself. Your dealership is not being effectively managed. Management by Fire is a 2.5-day intensive course conducted entirely by me that teaches managers how to effectively manage in today's automotive industry. Simple processes for driving high-quality traffic. For more information on upcoming events, please call my team at 866-996-4665. Once again, 866-996-4665. Thank you.
Fall in love with your advertising and production. Pick the pineapple.
And we're back. And the next up is What's Next. It's our What's Next panel. Once again, we have Jeff Collins, Kevin Fry, J.D. Rucker, Bobby Heron, and Don O'Neill. Welcome, lady and gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Very well.
Great. We appreciate having all of you on the show. I'm going to start the party with Jeff Collins, and I know that he had some input on our first subject, which is we're talking about what's next, what's trending, where's the car business headed. And one of the examples that we wanted to talk about today was the new startup company, Carvana, and what they're doing with this vending machine marketing approach. And they believe that they're going to change the way that the buying experience exists today. and they have this brick and mortar location in Atlanta. But the bigger picture is you can buy a car online and have it delivered right to you. And so, Jeff, is this going to change the car buying experience? What Carvana has begun?
Okay, so the overall business model is going to change the business. I think it's going to have some serious implications. I don't think that I would focus on the vending machine aspect of it versus if you look at their brand message. I think that's what's most impactful. They're 100% disclosure. Their website speaks volumes. I'm looking at it right now, and it says, our cars aren't perfect, and neither are we, but we do promise to tell you the truth. One tip, we'll never sell a car that's ever been in an accident. They've got a 7-day, no questions asked, buyback guarantee. There's not many dealers that today will put their neck out like that.
Let me ask you this, Jeff, and I know we're not here to talk about Carvana and I guess 2.5 years old now, but we're here to talk about that trend. I know there's another company, I know the name's floating around here somewhere, that's kind of a hybrid, but it's more about the moving to the online, and I want to bring it up and kind of go this route as well. My question is, and I know that you guys may not be the answer to this, I wonder, what that would look like when your quarters get stuck in that vending machine. Are you going to be able to turn that thing upside down and bang it? I can see someone banging on the side of that, trying to knock out their freaking Kia Soul. But let me. I think they were quoted in an article, I think it's a year old or so, saying that one of the quote unquote issues, or I guess one of their desires, which any company would want, is they're not seeing the number of new customers as they would want. Well, that's business 101. No one is. We all want more new customers. But the answer, in an optimistic way, their opinion was because they don't feel like have completely gained trust yet. And I guess my question is that the answer, or is it possibly that humans, that it may never be as large of a percentage as they want? Kevin, let me ask you that. I know we don't have a crystal ball, but we're moving, obviously, we're all online. But isn't the day where everybody, not just somebody, everybody buys their groceries online, everybody buys their clothes online, everybody buys everything online? Isn't that coming before someone buys a $20,000, $30,000 purchase online?
Well, I don't really think this is a novel idea because it's already been going on almost 20 years. It's called eBay Motors.
Mm-hmm.
They led the way that you could buy a car online, you could finance it, you could get it shipped. You were just working directly with the owner of the car. Now, essentially, Carvana is positioning themselves in the middle as the owner of the vehicle. And beyond them being a middleman and adding on some additional expense, I don't see a tremendous difference. I know they're advertising transparency, and then they turn around and say that the dealers are costing more money because of their markup or their overhead. What is the markup for Carvana? I don't think they're doing this service for free. What about their overhead? Where is the transparency that applies to what they're doing? I'm going to take them seriously, but I would say this. Name one business for me that has succeeded, that has tried to circumvent the dealership.
That's funny you said that, because it seems like a lot of these, in concept, okay, let's go. You need to have a business, you need supply, demand. Obviously, you need a concept that's centered around that. I think they have that. But it's let me throw one thing out there, and I'll just kind of throw this freaking elephant in the room, and obviously we're going to talk about several other things. But JD, let's talk about the car business. The last time I checked, no one purchases a car because they need it. Very, very few people purchase it because they need it. Most people purchase it because they want it. And what I mean by that is, if you have an ugly 1971 yellow and white Pinto with rust hanging off of it, and it gets you from point A to point B, you really don't need a car. You may want it, and you may want it really bad, and it may look really crappy. But the bottom line is, you still want that car. I think you need it if your car explodes. So, JD, isn't automotive purchasing an emotional decision? Isn't that where it really comes down to?
Absolutely, 100%. And it's funny because we're talking about what's next. That ties in perfectly to why the Carvanas are out here, why companies, there's a company similar to them that takes a slightly different approach. I don't know if this is the one that you were talking about, but what's the name? Pure Pursuit Automotive. They do pure concierge service, very similar to Carvana, but they go to dealers and auctions around the country looking for, almost like a concierge service for buying cars.
Is it called Make My Deal? Isn't it Make My Deal one of the companies that's out there?
No. That was I've heard of them as well. No, this was called Pure Pursuit Automotive, I believe.
Okay.
I met him last year at Driving Sales. Super nice guys. Great, lots of ambition, and I think that they can be successful.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as yes, this is still an emotional decision, and that's something that we're starting to realize now. Is that two things are conflicting, but they can be brought together in the future. Yes, the internet is here, mobile is here, everything is going digital, and people are starting to establish more of their relationships, more of their decisions that they make are happening online. We have our heads in our phones. When we're waiting for our lunch, we're always online, ever connected. So that's one aspect. But then the other aspect is that people aren't just going online to make static decisions. They do need that emotion, and especially when you're buying a car, this is extremely important. Those of us who have sold cars, we sell a car, great. We get money from it. We get to make a friend, all that good stuff. This is a decision that's changing their lives. So while in other industries they're really starting to embrace that personalization online, the automotive industry has, in my opinion, fallen behind. And I think that's the next thing is bridging that gap.
Right.
Right now, people do so much to drive. Hey, you know what? We got to drive everything to VDPs. We got to go to VDPs. That's great, and I don't disagree with that. But I think that there needs to be a step in between. When people come onto a lot, you don't say, "Hey, how you doing? Let me show you the Camry." You get to know them. You meet and greet, and we have to be able to, as an industry, translate that online because with more people getting that relationship aspect through digital.
Right.
We have to be able to translate that as an industry to where we can establish a relationship digitally, but still be able to serve their need. Like you said, with people going to buy so much online, cars are the next progression. We just need to make sure that we can make it personal and have direct interaction and actually build a relationship before they start to come into the dealership. Even if and to the point to where they might not even have to come into the dealership to have a trusting relationship with you. Bobby.
So here's my take on this whole thing is I hear everybody between vendors and dealers always saying, does Carvana have it right? Does Tesla have it right? How about we just stop trying to guess what people want and just be where everybody is, right? If you want to buy a car online and you want to do it 100% online, let's give them the availability to do that. If you want to come on the lot, let's have the availability to do that. If we're in every arena with the availability and the transparency that the customers want in every arena, we can't lose. We just need to stop guessing what we want to do, and we need to start doing what our customers are asking of us, and that's being available in every option.
Yeah, I think
one thing.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. One more quick thing, and I'll be done. The one thing and I agree with you wholeheartedly. One thing that you didn't mention was consistency. With consistency, you have the ability to be able to, and that consistency has to start from the moment they make first contact, and that first contact doesn't mean that they were calling you or filling out a lead form. That first contact is when they see your car on AutoTrader or they see your car on your website, or they whatever interaction they have with you on social media, anything like that. Even if it's not them talking to you, they're still pulling from you. So there has to be consistency all the way through from the very start of the sale, which today it doesn't start when they hit the lot. It starts the moment that they have any sort of interaction with you. If they just see your car on a third-party site, they're interacting with you, at least in their own mind. If you can keep the messaging consistent and honest and transparent, as you said, from start to finish, that's what people are going to crave. That's what they're demonstrating in every other industry. It's got to catch up in automotive in 2016. Okay, I'm sorry. Mic drop.
No,
hey, Dave, I'll throw something, Dave, that I haven't heard, and there's a lot of people a lot smarter than me, but there's just something that we go by at our company, and it's gauging the momentum of technology and marrying that with perspective, and I'll explain that. As the baby boomer population as a consumer in the automobile industry continues to contract, the perspective of the Gen Y, the Gen Z, the millennials, we have to remember that what triggers their emotions isn't touch and feel. They grew up with iPads and iPhones and Xbox, and their human interaction wasn't the same way that we had. When we were kids, we went out and our parents threw us out the door and said, go play, don't come home till 6. A millennial has no idea what it means to go to the baseball field and play with your friends in the middle of summertime when it's not organized. Everything that they've done has been online, so that perspective of what drives that emotion is online for them because it's a virtual world and that's how they interact. I mean, you see it now, and it even leaks over into Gen X. I mean, I can pick up the phone and call my wife, but it's a heck of a lot easier for me to text her one sentence on my phone. 20 years ago, we would have picked up the phone and called. Nobody thought about texting. So the perspective of this is with the Carvanas and the Car BBs and the companies that are going out there to try and have a complete online transaction. The thing that I always try to remember when we develop a product is what's the perspective of the consumer, number one, and to always remember that the consumer is going to take us where they want to go. And I think that, again, as that baby boomer population dwindles as a viable consumer in this market space, we're going to continue to see a trend go towards online. To me, the only thing that we haven't figured out to be able to have a true consummated transaction online is how do you value a trade when you don't see it? So if somebody can figure that out, I think that the answer is there. That makes it that much easier to transition.
Yeah, let me throw this out there. I know Dave's going to change the topic here and go to a different question, but Bobby mentioned, and by the way, Don, you were breaking up a little bit, but I think we got it, and I agree with the standpoint of obviously online. I mean, I'm not a millennial, but I'm online. I mean, we all are online, and I get it. But then to kind of argue Bobby's point, or to kind of throw out maybe devil's advocate comment here. The reason I think this is necessary for discussion is because if we're not careful, and this is just in my opinion, I guess, if we're not careful, maybe we offer a schizophrenic approach to dealers. What do I do? And it's where do I? Who's right? And if we're not, and sometimes, and kind of on your point, Don, millennials. But when I talk to millennials in my office, some of them are the ones that wouldn't maybe go to that far and purchase a vehicle online. And then here's one other thing, and I'll throw this out on it. Maybe let Kevin field this. Here's another thing. With some of these companies that are, quote, tech-driven, I mean, super, super tech-driven, do they know the car business? Because the bottom line is you have to also know the car industry, not just the tech industry. So it is, an emotional decision. So if you're going to buy it online, are you isolating the dealer? Is it always going to trace back to a car person? For instance, I won't mention names, but there's companies that we've consulted with in our sales training, because we started 20 years ago and sold direct mail, and there's companies we consulted that sell technology to dealers that don't have a clue how to sell a dealer. They know, they're smart. They're smart. Right. They know how to build a product that are freaking, they can find, anything you want, and that's incredible, and it blows you away. But that dealers aren't engaging necessarily, and they go, how do I sell this car guy? How do I sell this car person? How do I get them? Because they're so fixated on how many cars is it going to sell me. So Kevin, weigh in on that a little bit, and then I'll let Cribbs switch topics, but we'll let Kevin Fry weigh in.
Well, I'll give you two sides to that picture. So I was around the very early days of eBay Motors, did over 500 cars in 1 year on eBay, and probably had less than 10 test drives. And dealers were absolutely flipping out, saying there's no way you can sell a car like that. And I can tell you, we were doing it all day long. But with that said, I mean, this is early days. Pictures, descriptions, almost every single sale involved an extensive amount of time on the phone. And as much as they would do part of that consumer shopping journey online, they still wanted to touch a live human being that would give them that comfort level to like them, to trust them, and to buy from them. I think the same thing is happening today, but what you're seeing is that more of the consumer shopping journey is happening online, but they still want to touch base with you. Even if you participated in the GM Shop Click Drive experience, it's a rare person that goes through the entire process. It almost always goes, they get up to a certain point, and then they want to touch with the dealer before they're going to make that $20,000, $30,000 decision. Now, I do believe you're going to see, over time, people are going to keep going further and further in that. And if you can go into your OEM national meetings, they're spearheading the way on that. They understand that consumers want to do more of this stuff online, and the OEMs are starting to build their website to handle those people. But it's also important to understand something else. I know there's a big push out there that people say they want to do it online, and they want to do it quicker. But what you got to understand is you have to move at their speed and be willing to accommodate that, because you're going to have some of those people that want to do everything online, come in, sign the paperwork, and get the vehicle. But you're going to have people who are going to want to do some of it online, show up, spend 2 or 3 hours test driving several vehicles, and make the purchase from there. At the end of the day, we just need to do a great job accommodating what our customers are looking for when they're looking to buy that car.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I think all of these, I call them either buying services or dealers. That's how I see them. I think they fall into two categories. They're really ultimately either a dealer or a buying service. And getting back to what you said earlier, Scott, if they're a dealer, ultimately they have all these margins and expenses just like we do. If they're a buying service, they're just a middleman. There's more expenses that are either created or have to be accounted for. But I believe that it's all being pushed by the customers, what we believe the customers' fears are, which are the things they may experience at the dealership, or maybe they're trying to make it more convenient. I also think that if we look at what people are telling us they want when it comes to buying cars, it may look a little bit different than what they actually really want. And I don't know if you guys follow me on that, but because customers will say, well, I want this, 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 and this, but the reality is that it takes a little bit more to put together what they want than just clicks of buttons or, in and out in 30 minutes.
Well, there's another element there, and what each person on this panel shares, and so many listening today, is that each one of us is an agent of positive change to make this industry better, and that's what we're trying to do, is alleviate these well-deserved fears that our customers have. And the good news is we have got a lot better. We still have a long way to go, but we continue to take that path.
Amen, Kevin.
Hey, I hope that gets hashtag over and over. You got to repeat it. Agents of positive change. That was powerful.
I'm gonna direct this next question to Bobby. Bobby, what about, we see a lot of trends obviously now with video. We're using it very powerfully in the car business, and now we see it all over the dealers' websites as well, exposing hopefully our culture within the dealership as well. But where are we going with cameras? Will it be cameras in the showroom? Will it be like a reality show? Is it going to be something that a customer can just log on and see what's happening in a showroom at all times?
And you're speaking too from like the public or private, how transparent is too transparent. You know? I mean, go ahead, Bobby.
Here's the thing. This is we're fearful in dealerships of doing things that are changed or different from what we've been doing, because we've been taught our whole careers that selling is about control. And so we're fearful of those changes. For me, I think I already have my own reality show, but I'm on Periscope all the time playing around. And now they've got these awesome, I'm talking to Eric Milch the other day, and he's telling me about this drone that you put on a bracelet, and the drone follows you around. It's like you've got your own reality show. And, you've got stabilizer cameras now that look like they're professional videos being made. I tend to believe that there's something credible about the rawness of what we're doing in our day-to-day. And I don't think it should be scary for a customer to see that. If we're negotiating numbers between management, that's happening behind the scenes. But if we're using the numbers that we've put out there, and we're being transparent, and we're being fair, and we're earning that business, in my stores, we don't have anything to hide. I'd love to see a drone following us around and somebody to be able to log on at any time and take a look, because I truly believe no matter what in our industry, you can get the same price anywhere, you can get the same trade-in anywhere, you can get the same car anywhere. But what we offer that's different, and what everybody needs to get on board with, is the experience, because that's what sets us apart. And if throwing in a video makes the experience better, I'll dance on camera. I ain't even worried about it.
What do you think, Jeff? I mean, I saw you kind of agreeing with her with a hand signal there. what's the downside? I mean, what? I guess you're at a dealership, you're at a group there, and obviously you guys care about excellence. And I mean, what's important to make for a dealer to make sure before they allow this to go on? Though, they don't want a rodeo scene, surely, without their knowledge. I mean, what's important?
Bobby said it best, and I knew that it was going to funnel down to that one word track, which is customer or consumer experience. And isn't that what we're really discussing here?
Yeah.
The ability to provide what the customer wants, and that is going to be different and situational depending on each customer. Kevin touched on it. 10 years ago, the buzzwords were what? It's all about customer satisfaction. Today, it's all about the experience at the bricks and mortar point of contact. Those that are or have the ability to provide that wow factor and exceed the customer's expectations, those are going to be your industry leaders. If it's the Carvanas of the world, is it going to be the Weiler Group? Who knows? That's what I think we need to key on. And each person on this panel is, what we do is we drive the traffic to the dealership, correct? Via digital advertising. But where the rubber meets the road, we can lead the horse to water, we just can't make them drink. Once the customer gets there, we've got one shot. It's our sale to lose. And, 10 years it wasn't that way. There's no such thing as the be-back bus. Nobody has that schedule anymore. So you better get it right today. If not, you just lost your shot. And that's what it really boils down to.
That's well said. And JD, let me go to you here. Let's shift the gears and talk about digital marketing. That's your that's your area of expertise there. But let's also talk a little bit, kind of a cousin, where dealers sometimes lump SEO and things like that. Has SEO missed the mark? I mean, there's all types of. Dealers are scared to death when begin to talk about this, but they're told they got to have it. They're told they're going to be lost. And talk a little bit about that, JD. Talk about the fallacies first of all, if there's some out there about SEO, and then kind of shift gears and talk about what's next digitally, in your opinion.
Cool. Can we extend the show for 7 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. They're scared because they don't get it.
But each one of those components, the fallacies of SEO, don't get me started. Too many. What's next? It's funny because everything that we're talking about when it comes to search marketing, everything that Jeff said, really everything that everybody said, but everything that Jeff just said as far as the customer experience, totally correct. And here's the challenge with search marketing, and this is the disconnect, is that dealers and vendors, and it's not the dealer's fault, I don't think. I think that for the most part, vendors have missed that customer experience because it does start at the beginning, at the search, from the moment that they're searching or they're on social media, wherever it actually starts, wherever that interaction starts is when we need to start communicating that customer experience. We need to be able to differentiate ourselves. And that's something that does take place in the search marketing realm. If you have all these automated programs that'll tell you, okay, great, so let's go out there and we're going to tell them that we have this many cars at this, starting at this price. And that's what everybody's pushing, or, hey, come check out our inventory. We need to be messaging the customer experience from the moment they're starting to look for us. That's how you differentiate yourself as a dealership. It's not just about, hey, we've got this low lease payment. Here's what's happening today. It's the homogenization, I guess, of messaging that's really killing the industry, because people no longer believe that this dealership that's offering a $129 a month lease is the only dealership in the area that could do that. They're starting to say, well, dealerships are the same. This is something from the OEM. So if this dealership can have a $129 lease, then so can any of the others. So I'm going to pick out the ones that I like, and they'll either match the price. Nobody has a truly better price, especially when it comes to new cars. So I'm just going to go to the closest one, or I'm going to go to the one that has the right car, and they're going to match up.
Mm-hmm.
With SEO today, and with search marketing in general, we're not just talking about SEO. We're talking about paid search, retargeting, anything that has to do with search in general. You have to take it first and foremost from the message, and that message needs to be geared towards customer experience. Taking people straight in and saying, okay, great, here's your inventory. Let's look at the inventory. You're playing apples to apples. It's a fair game. Dealers don't want a fair game, and thankfully for dealers that are out there that really want to get aggressive, they have options. They have the ability to start communicating a better customer experience. They have the ability to say, look, we have our own certification program. We have we're very quick, we're very transparent and honest. Carvana has caught on from a messaging perspective. They just need to take off from getting that message out there. So to mold everything, your question, to encapsulate it and include what Jeff and everybody else is saying, it's not just delivering the customer experience. It's communicating that incredible customer experience that they're going to have by coming to you, to your dealership. That's where content marketing and SEO come into play.
There was
Vendors
a key word
today
right
are
there.
missing it.
What's that?
Which part? I thought I had many keywords, but go ahead.
It was content. When it comes to SEO, and JD's always preached this, content is king, and that's what it's all about.
But it's not just generic content. It's just not just content regarding, like, okay, so I'm going to have a page that's talking about a 2016 Toyota Corolla. That's great. That used to work wonders. Everybody's doing it now. All the website providers are building pages like that. All the SEO companies are doing that. So you have to be able to support the content with other components, other aspects that Google and Bing are looking at. And that's the other gap. We can talk about, gosh, okay, don't get me started. We don't have 7 hours. Let me break it down to one sentence. SEO, search marketing in general, content marketing, and customer experience should all be tied in together. Once you throw social media into that equation, suddenly you have a consolidated strategy that must be worked simultaneously. This isn't different components heading in different directions like most vendors and most dealers have. You have to look at it holistically. And that's the difference between a dealer that's succeeding today and that will succeed in 2016 versus the ones that are wondering, why am I not hitting my numbers? Why am I not killing it? Okay, that's my answer.
Yeah,
that's good.
But here's the thing:
I was one of the early SEO gurus, and I just spoke at an SEO conference earlier this year, and it was like going to an AA meeting for SEO people of a bunch of folks in the room that wanted to reform from what they had done in the past. Because the truth of the matter is, the days of armchair SEO and keyword stuffing and all that stuff is pretty much passed us by. Google has gotten really good at seeing the content, the semantics of the entire experience. And I'm telling you, from sitting in the dealership seat, from our perspective, our vendor partners need to step up at this time. They're the ones that need to be the SEO experts because they're the ones structuring the website, title tagging, you name it, all the way through. A lot of these things that we don't have control of. And to expect us to pay all that money per month for our website and then do all the SEO ourselves makes no sense, especially most of it we're not even able to do.
You know, it's crazy.
What about,
Bobby, well, Bobby, let me just, I'm going to let you answer this question. Well, I'll let you answer this, but let me just throw this in to kind of add to the question. I mean, it comes back, Jeff just said, obviously referring to what JD says, content. It goes back to that when everything begins to settle down, and that's really what I heard Kevin say. Hey, in the beginning it was free for all, so to speak. It was, but now that it's settled down, it comes down to people who know what they're talking about, content-wise. In other words, putting the content. So, hey, he said Google's gotten wise. Well, if you just really put content out there, right, Bobby, and you just really do a good job of trying to really touch the customer where they're at and really care about meeting the needs of the customer, then that content's going to get you discovered. I mean, is that a fair way to say it?
Absolutely. I mean, I think what we all have to remember when it comes to SEO is that, everybody's always trying to look for what it is that Google wants. Well, what Google wants is to be relevant. They want, when a customer searches for something, to find a real answer. So it's like, stop with all the shenanigans and all the, workarounds and everything else, and let's just deliver a quality experience from beginning to end, and we're there. It's like, so I'm reading this morning an article about how the iOS 9 update affected deep linking. Not one of my SEO providers called me to let me know that. You know who called me to let me know that? Another dealer.
Wow.
In a forum. And I went, hey,
Bobby,
that's great information. Shame on me.
Bobby,
Yes.
Bobby, I'm sorry, but I just want you to know that if you were my client, I would have called you this morning to tell you about that.
Hey, listen, I appreciate that about you.
Hey, JD.
Here's the thing, and this is what Kevin's saying is, any grade school participant can put together a website. You know, we might not be able to add inventory and all those things, and we need that specialization. But if you're going to provide a website, provide an experience. That's what I want to see a vendor come out and do. I want to see somebody come out and go, I'm going to wow you with everything that's going to be on here. And it's not a la carte because it's what it's supposed to be. It's a basic requirement.
You know, hey, Cribbs, I know he was interested too. One of the things in kind of going to Don, Cribbs, you were interested in, and Don's going to really kind of stir something up here in a positive way. I mean, about targeting people, about really targeting and what's available, not just his product. I mean, we know what his product is, but it fascinates me, Cribbs, when I think about the ability to really, you know, for a dealer to be able to know what they're dealing with before they deal with it.
Yeah, this is huge. This is something that Don is very familiar with, and we'll definitely want him to weigh in. But, you know, I love the fact that we're getting to the point with all of this technology and our access to different things that we can not only pinpoint, but really have some intelligence on a customer before they even arrive. And Don, I want you to weigh in on that if you would.
Yeah, I think, you know, again, like everyone on the panel has said at one time or another, one of the crazy things about our industry is that we seem to be 10 years behind what every other industry does. And, you know, 3 years ago, you know, one of the bureaus jumped out and said, you know what, we're going to give the automotive dealerships the ability to pre-screen and pre-qualify customers. And, you know, for our standpoint, what we said was, this isn't about credit, okay? It's nice to know if your customer's a 690 or a 790, but we always saw it as an operational tool and a tool for engagement. Mm-hmm. And so the technology that's out there, and I'll throw something out there that some we're going to be launching at digital, some is available, you know, maybe next year. But the availability of taking a used car when you're buying it online at the auction and know that you can, while that car is on the truck heading to your dealership, find 60 or 70 people in your PMA that literally want that car, are qualified to purchase that car, and you can actually engage them with an offer before you're done reconditioning. Or the ability to take a customer who's on your virtual website and engage them with a buying experience that instead of them, you know, let's go show them the most expensive car that we find out 4 hours later that they don't qualify for, let's give them a buying experience that shows them those vehicles that we know can best suit their current financial situation. But it goes beyond that, because here's the thing that you don't see, whether it's a lead from a third-party portal or a lead from your website. When Don O'Neill sends a lead into ABC Toyota, they have no idea whether Don O'Neill is 23 years old and makes $29,000 a year, or I'm 55 years old and I make $2 million a year. So the idea here is coming up with a path for engagement that empowers the dealers, because let's face it, the biggest difference between this industry now and 10 years ago has been the indoctrination of an educated consumer in our industry. Now, a lot of that had to do with third-party providers, but listen, I was managing stores when I remember saying, oh, that ZAG in USA, it'll never work because dealers never show their invoice. And I remember when Trade and Marketplace came and people said, you know what, customers will never jump on that idea. The problem that we have as an industry is that we seem to put our teeth into the idea a little bit late. And the reality is that we have an educated consumer that demands information and has an idea of what their buying experience should be. And so I always feel like any tool that we bring to the market, ours happens to be credit and non-FCRA data both, where we give the dealer some tools for engagement. But how do you engage that customer? If I know that you're a first-time buyer, I can change your engagement and your experience. If I know that you're buying your seventh car and you can sign for whatever you choose to, I'm going to gauge that engagement experience directed in that fashion. More importantly, if I know that you're a millennial, I'm probably going to email you, try and hit you with social media, maybe text you before I make that phone call, and I engage you verbally. Where if you're 55, 60 years old, I'm picking up the phone and I'm asking you how I can make this experience better for you. So the idea of how you engage the consumer to us is just as important as the credit. And so, yes, it's amazing the things that it's actually scary, the amount of data that's out there. But the reality is there's companies we're able to empower the dealer to understand and know how to use credit data and non-FCRA data to tailor and customize an engagement with the consumer that gives them the best propensity to sell them the car and provide them with the best buying experience.
Jeff, weigh in on that. You know, just, I mean, I know Don said a lot, but kind of weigh in on you're a customer experience guy, and I know you talk a lot about that, but I mean, how important is it to have fodder, to have some conversation starter, some ability to be able to know who you're dealing with ahead of time? You know, whether or not to text them, whether or not to break out a pterodactyl in a stone and chisel something. You know, I don't know. How important is that, Jeff? You know, on your side, Kevin's side, Bobby's side of the of the deal. You guys are at the Blacktop here at the dealership. How important is that?
Well, of course, any edge that you can have that helps propel or heighten your awareness when it comes to who and what you're dealing with from a consumer standpoint. I mean, that's the holy grail, obviously. And I'm familiar with Don's product, and Don, you got a little pitchy there, buddy. But
my bad. I apologize.
It's hard not to.
Okay. I appreciate the product. I'm a current user and advocate. So, Credit Miner's a great product, and it does. And if we're going to speak specifically on that point, yes, it's a trade-in tool that is integrated with a soft credit pool that puts my managers in a position prior to the consumer arriving on the floor that this is the consumer I'm dealing with. It tells me exactly what his last car loan was, missed payments, credit score, everything. So absolutely, that gives us an edge and defines a direction to take that consumer in, which is going to be obviously a time saver, which is going to make the customer experience more seamless, obviously. So, it benefits everybody at that point. Are there going to be other solutions around the corner as far as what's next that are going to emulate that? I hope so, and I'm pretty positive that they're in the pipeline.
Yeah.
You know what I'd like to see, speaking of that, Credit Miner, whatever it is, all these great technological products, is just some implementation. Like, can I get some implementation and some accountability across the board? Because once we get that on track, everything else falls into place.
Yeah, that's spot on, Bobby. I mean, obviously, Don's product is amazing, and it gives us a vehicle to use that intelligence and make that experience better, as Jeff talked about. But, taking advantage of that, there's so many tools that are given to us as dealers. There's so many things that are at our disposal, like our CRMs, for example, prime example, and if salespeople, if management, if our dealership focused more on taking advantage of what we already have and really just become pros at working what we're already equipped with, because I think that we could get better at handling our leads, where then buying more leads not only wouldn't just be the next answer, but we would be able to get results on all the leads. We would raise our percentage of results up on all the leads. I know that Bobby's probably shaking her head on that.
Well, and let me. Go ahead, sorry. No, go ahead. I was going to say, we'll go to JD, and I want to give you guys a chance. I mean, we brought you on as experts, and I appreciate you, humoring us on some of and weighing in on a lot of the things that we've received tons of answers, tons of, questions over the last week here. Some of the things are to throw it out, but I'm going to give you guys a chance to bring to the surface and kind of go down the line. We'll go down the line with Jeff, and then Kevin, and Bobby. Then we'll go Don and JD. We're in with you guys, but we have a few more minutes here. But you guys tell us what's next, and some of the things, in case you want to weigh in on these or not. I mean, we were asked the question, has the car business become too politically correct? Politically correct, not I don't mean Fox News, CNN style. I mean, are we trying to figure something out that doesn't need to be figured out? Maybe. Another question, obviously, we don't want to reopen a true car conversation, but enough people ask, is it just a lead provider incognito? Have they, is it a lead provider? And that's what it is. And if it is, hey, praise the Lord. But is it incognito as something different? Is F&I going away? Is it here to stay? These are things that are literally, on the docket here. So I'm going to start with Jeff. Feel free, Jeff, to bring up whatever topic you want to bring up with what's next in your mind. Then we'll go to Kevin.
All right, so I guess I'll throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in this. So let's kind of sum all of this up, and the true tone of this panel was what I think there's been a huge shift in the way we've done business. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
And I would call that the art of selling cars. Today, it's truly about what? The science of selling cars. And I can get Kevin, I can push a button with Kevin right now, and we can start talking about Google Analytics and ROI and what he coins as adjusted ROI. Now, and I was speaking with Bobby about this earlier. Today's internet director is tomorrow's general manager. I promise you that the overall majority of GMs today, when they have conversations with digital directors, it goes right over their head. Just think about that. The most important aspect where all the eyeballs are is your website, but how many audits, how many spot checks, how many reports do GMs actually look at when it comes to digital traffic, their online reputation management? They don't, because they're afraid of it. Takes them out of the comfort zone. Anybody disagree?
I'll disagree with you. And Jeff, you can never win an argument when somebody has their own bobblehead. I mean, that's
Damn it,
right
Kevin.
there. Expert.
I want to go grab mine right now.
We've got those on their desk right there. I think part of the role of today's e-commerce director, internet manager, whatever it may be, is that you have to be an educator as well, and that includes educating your dealer principal, your GM, whoever the case may be, so that they understand how to read those reports, what that means. Because if you don't walk them through and you just send them to it, I agree with you. It's probably going to go right from the inbox to the delete box, and they have no idea. With that said, I'll completely agree with you that the salesperson, the sales manager of today is the GM of tomorrow, and I can tell you that I'm excited here at the Jeff Walker Automotive family that some of my initial people that I started with as salespeople have already reached the GM position, the GSM position, you name it, and it's been exciting watching that talent grow over the years, and let me tell you what, it makes your life a lot easier when you have someone that understands how it works at the very top.
Alan, I'll agree with you completely, and I'll tell you, I think it's already happening. I mean, I think when you look at the age of who's behind the desk nowadays, and you're seeing GMs at 26, 27, 28 years old, I think the transition's already happening. And a lot of it has to do with the way gentlemen like you and companies like you train. A lot of it has to do with the desire of that younger person to be at the cutting edge. But I think it's already happened. I mean, it's amazing to me every time I walk into a dealership that I look at someone who's half my age and they're running, an $8, $10, $12 million store. That didn't happen 20 years ago.
Well said. Bobby, what's next?
Well, so two parts to that. One is I'm on board with Jeff on this. What's next is that we, as an industry, we really have to stop looking for general managers who have a background just in sales. I ran a store for 3 years, 4 years ago, before I started doing digital. And somebody said to me recently, hey, you should promote and take over your own store again. And I went, how is that a promotion? Because to me, I'm looking at it saying, I have all this opportunity to look at everything outside of the box in every part of our business and be a positive advocate for change with an amazing team and help them grow. I think the most important thing that we can do is become a student of the business and check our ego and always be educating ourselves and the people that we're surrounded with. As far as what's next on the digital horizon or what's going to be happening is, I think this is the year where you start to see, coming up into 2016, people pulling that together and making changes in management so that there are a better understanding of digital products and how they affect each part of the business. If we don't begin to do that and it's not trickling down from the top down, it doesn't matter what great products come out or what agents of change we have, because there will be nobody implementing them. So smart companies are starting to, and smart dealerships and groups are starting to look at the people who are training their teams and who are bringing in these products, and they're letting them join boards, and they're letting them be on advisory panels, and they're letting them start to self-brand, because through that networking we grow. And that fear and that control is what stops us.
Well spoken. We got JD, I believe. JD?
Yes. What's next?
You're bringing it to a close.
All right. Well,
then I hope I deliver. What I see and what we've talked about internally with my team is that 2016 is a year of renewed profits. Dealers that are able to really, truly, and if you watch the Twitter stream, you're seeing that a lot of people are tying into and latching onto the concept of experience, of messaging, of making sure that we're doing this. If and when dealers return to this concept of truly not just delivering the experience, but communicating that experience across all the various mediums, then we will see the return of profits. We've all been there. Anybody who sold cars knows that just because somebody gets a stupid, killer, crazy deal doesn't mean they're going to be happy. And some of our happiest customers are the ones that are paying a fair price that's going to allow the dealership to make a profit. We need to focus on that as an industry, and that starts with how we're positioning it. It starts with how we're positioning on search, how we're positioning our dealership on social, and most importantly, how we're positioning on the website. There's a couple of tweets in there about how leads aren't really the future, and I don't disagree. I think that we're working with several progressive dealerships that they don't even care. If they're on a pitch and they hear, well, we're going to increase your leads, they don't look at the lead as the necessary path to a sale, especially with today's ability. People have the ability to look at everything. They can get all the information they need. They don't need to ask the dealership, do you have this available, or what's my rate, or what's my trade worth, or anything like that. They can show up with all of the data, and we see it every day. They can show up with everything that they need, all of the research they need to get done, and they're just coming right in. So stop focusing on the whole concept of, well, let's get leads. And I'm not saying leads are bad. I'm just saying that leads aren't the end all. In 2016, it's going to be about selling cars and selling cars for a profit, and that starts with getting away from this defeatist mentality of we gotta drop our prices, we gotta do TrueCar, or we gotta do all these different things. Let's focus on delivering. You're going to buy a car, and you're going to love my car, and you're going to love buying that car from me. So call me or come in. I don't care. Buy my car, and I'm going to treat you right, and profits will increase. Period.
You got pretty passionate on
Well,
that.
and just to kind of piggyback off of what you just said, just to kind of throw something in there, vendors have to, and JD, I'm not saying this about JD at all, so let me make sure I make that clear, but vendors have to stop coming in and pitching stuff because it's an easy sell without managing what the real expectation is later. And unfortunately, too many come in and pitch it on an increased lead instead of managing an honest expectation. And it sets the dealer up to expect something that's not realistic.
Boom.
I love it.
That flew by.
Somebody tweet that.
that flew by.
It always comes back to the same thing, which is each of us taking individual responsibility to actually connect with another human being and create something that is better than they have offered to them down the street.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yes.
Hey,
Don't give them a reason to go down the street.
That's right.
Kevin, real quick, you're speaking. What's your workshop on in a couple weeks in Vegas?
Oh, I'm speaking at Digital Dealer, and it's who's crashing your website or your website party. So I'm going to show people how to analyze the traffic that's coming in, determine whether it's good or bad. In fact, I'm going to set the phone down just to show you one of my cool, unique giveaways I have sitting here behind me.
He's always got cool prizes.
It's Red Bull.
It's
Red Bull.
While he's doing,
I'm adding a prize to my session just because he's doing it.
Wow.
Now, somebody out there,
Is that an easy bake oven?
Primary cooking
Easy
device.
bake oven?
I'm going to be cooking up some great
Come on.
prizes at this event. You'll definitely want to see me. This is only one of many. So
Well, come by. Go if you're
bake oven and more.
if you're a digital
I'm adding
dealer.
prizes to my session now.
If you're a digital dealer, go by and see Kevin. And I know Bobby, you're going to be there. What do you? I want to catch everybody that's going to be there. Bobby, you're going to be there. What's your workshop on?
My workshop is called Putting Your Best Stiletto Forward, Getting Ahead in a Man's World. But I
Oh.
want everybody to know that that's a man's class, too, because if you want to know how to recruit and retain women in our business, you should be in my session.
So wait a minute. Kevin's
Sounds
giving
like a
away.
man class.
Kevin's giving away Easy Bake Oven to pander to the women, and you're going to give away a chainsaw. All right. So.
Yeah.
You've got. Don't forget. Even though I'm not going to be there,
JD.
I'm not going to. Yeah, that's JD. I'm not going to be there.
Right.
But Subi's going to be there.
Yes,
Subi
she is.
Ghosh. She's going to be talking about social culture, and she has the ultimate giveaway ever. She's going to be giving away to one lucky winner a free puppy. Now, how they get it home is going to be very difficult. But if they opt to not take the puppy, then she'll give away something else that's pretty special for one of her lucky attendees.
Awesome.
I'm going to tell you what kind of puppy I want.
Now, Jeff, are you going to, I know you're a man, they got you like chained down there, right? Are you going to be able to break away?
I'm a guppy in this fishbowl, obviously. I don't have a bobblehead. I don't have gifts. I got nothing here, guys.
I'm gonna get you a bobblehead.
You got to be. They should have you.
That's
Are you? They should have. You should be. You should definitely be doing a workshop, man. You got a lot of knowledge, my friend. And I know Don, you're going to be there, and you got a lot of good stuff going on in your booth. And they come by and check you out. You guys are going to be in the credit hall. Don O'Neill, you need to go by and meet Don and his crew. Great people. I can't wait to see you guys in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we'll be doing service lane salvation and also data-driven decisions. And wait a minute, Dave, you're doing a couple of workshops too, so throw that out there, buddy.
I am. It's funny. I'm doing one on leadership and one on sales. I'm a marketer, and we make money on marketing, but my passion is training leadership and sales, and I'm just going to go do what I'm
There goes that word. I mean, we had a great panel, and the word wasn't used but maybe once or twice.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just gonna do what I love to do. You know what I mean? And so somebody could walk up to me and hand me money after, and I couldn't do anything with it because I can't sell. I don't sell what I'm going to be doing, but I'm just going to do what I'm passionate.
What if they hand you a puppy?
I will take it, and my wife will tell me I can't bring it home. I can tell you that much because I've been trying to buy another one. So she said we can't have
Hey, I'll
it.
tell you what. I believe in teamwork, so you do the training and I'll sell it for you.
Yes. All right.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. I mean, what an outstanding panel. Jeff, thank you a month ago or so for suggesting many of the guests on the panel. Awesome choice. And I wish the show was longer. So
I think this was probably one of the best shows. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I agree. Well,
I
thank
want
you.
an easy bake oven.
Me too, man.
It'll be done in about 5 minutes.
Guys, thank you so much for coming on. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
So much, David.
Thank you.
Great to see you guys.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Agents of positive change.
Yes.
Yes.
Come on.
Right.
Awesome. Well, that was the panel. That was the What's Next panel. I mean, they did absolutely, as JD said, I hope I deliver. He definitely delivered, and so did the other four. So
Yes, he did.
Awesome panel.
It was
I'm
a great
pumped, man.
panel.
I want to do a What's Next 3 now.
I'm pumped.
Just simply because it's great.
I got somewhere to take my stilettos when we get to Vegas now.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're good to go.
I'm going to get my wife an easy bake oven and see if I can get her to cook me something. I'm just kidding. All righty. The next up next week, I'm not even going to say it. Well, you know what? Jeff's not on, so we can say it. We are going to be talking about training, but not like normal. There's going to be the actual show next up is called The Two Sides of Training. It was actually inspired by a panel of dealers. You don't want to miss next week. I promise you, you don't want to miss next week. We have 2 panels, and you do not want to miss what we're going to do with the 2 sides of training. It is very, very unique and different, and it will not be, I promise you, what you expect it to be, will it?
It won't. I wanted to elaborate, but I can't because I'm going to leave it a mystery so everybody respects us in the morning.
The next up, the
next
two
up.
sides of training. Is it heads? Is it tails? Which will it be? You decide. Thank you, guys.
And if you want a feature on your record, it'll cost ya. Seen so many men turn imposters and go and sell they soul for some money and some sponsors. And the youth feel entitled. Got the whole world in this feeling suicidal. We all on the brink, but we need to stop and think. And we need to learn to swim, not to train how to sink. And I'm feeling out of sync, and I haven't been myself. And I'm feeling pretty down, but I never asked for help. Yeah, and I need to stay motivated. And my goals stay concentrated. I will overcome the world even with the odds against me. So don't even tempt me. I will overcome the world even with the odds against me. So don't even tempt me. I will overcome the world even with the odds against me. So don't even tempt me. I will overcome the world even with the odds against me. You better not tempt me. Me and that finish line about to be reacquainted. And I know I need to stop getting agitated at whatever the world throws at me. And I know they're trying to keep me under lock and key. Shot the whole